Hi everyone, welcome to Business Spotlight. I'm Mark Hunter of Action Coach, and today I'm joined by Matt Sandham. Matt, thank you very much for coming on today. How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us a little bit about your business, Bespoke then?
Yeah, for sure. Where do I start? I guess my entrepreneurial journey, so to speak, started when I was about 14, 15 years old. So I was really into kind of web design um, and decided to set up a website that would allow customers to come on and basically customize their own gaming controllers. So at the time was buying in parts from China, printing stuff out in my parents' garage, and then mapping these all out. I'm kind of shipping them across the world. So I was getting orders from France, Germany, Australia, and this would have been best part of probably 15, 16 years ago now. So this was very, very early stages of e-commerce. And at this stage, there was no real platforms and it was all very much custom code. And that's where my love for it really started, to be honest with you. Kept up with it throughout my time at university. And then when I left university, was very fortunate to get a job with a local tool and hardware seller based up in the northeast of Scotland in Ellen. And they basically gave me the reins of their e-commerce division, which was really, really good. Allowed me to put all of the things I thought I knew, all of the kind of expertise that I thought I had into practice in the real world. For about 3 years, really kind of led that side of their business and helped them throughout a transition period to really grow and really establish a very solid platform, which they've carried on since I left, which is really good to see. Um, but about kind of 3 years into that journey, decided that the market that we were in was probably something that I didn't want to do for the rest of my life. Tools and hardware are great, really interesting industry, but I wanted to go out and kind of see other parts of the world and see different, meet different business owners and kind of get involved with different industries. And so at that stage, set up Bespoke as what was at the time an e-commerce consultancy. So the kind of concept really was to go into other businesses and replicate similar success to what I had in my job, with businesses looking to make that transition online. And very quickly realized that a lot of our clients were after more service. So rather than outsourcing any of that, decided to bring the talent in-house and very organically then started to build out this kind of full suite, kind of what we are today, which is a strategic marketing and software development agency. So we support a range of businesses across the UK who are looking to either grow or transition into growth through that online side of their business. And we support them kind of top to bottom with everything from brand and marketing right the way through to development and developing apps and systems, all sorts of stuff like that. So
Incredible journey that you've been on since you were 14 years old as well. That's when you started out. That's incredible. Hats off to you. Starting off so young as well.
yeah.
During that time, those first couple of years then when you were a teenager,
Yeah.
running this website, was there any mentors or coaches or someone who really helped and inspired you during that time?
Not really, I'll be honest. So, I mean, I've always taken inspiration both, both my parents have always been kind of quite commercial, worked pretty hard, and they at one point had their own business as well. So they were, kind of, I guess, an inspiration that's in that sense, kind of working for yourself. But really, I guess I'm just clinging on to my claims as the generation who grew up on YouTube. So a lot of it was kind of self-taught. Like a lot of these skills and a lot of things I was really into were just, from research and kind of building stuff and trying stuff myself.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, and the importance of learning, and a lot of it you being self-taught then, learning all that yourself is amazing. Um speaking of learning then, so what has been your biggest learning since you've been a business owner then, and maybe even you could specify that to Bespoke then?
Yeah, for sure. So the business has just come up for 5 years old now, so it's been a real journey, as you can imagine, right the way from when we first started, which was just me literally sat at home in my spare bedroom, to now where we're in this, pretty cool office. We've got a team of 12 servicing clients. So it's been a transition, and obviously COVID in the mix of all of that as well. So I would say probably the biggest learning, the thing that we've probably put the most emphasis on, especially over the last kind of year or two, is investing in our culture. It really is everything in a business. You know, it is literally, you know, the day-to-day understanding of what people think and how they want to work, and just really tapping into making sure that the values that we set out are consistent across the business, and there's a real buy-in with that. I think interestingly, and you know, culture is often talked about in business in a way which is a little bit of the kind of softer side of things. But I think what a lot of business owners miss is that it can also be an equity valuation play as well, right? So, you know, culture can increase the value of your business. It you know, it makes a huge impact if you're ever looking at, you know, potential exit or an investor at some point, because if you have a really solid culture, your business is a lot more predictable. So, you know, people coming in can say, right, I, you know, in face of adversity or in good times, here's what I would expect from the people who are operating within this kind of cultural framework. So for us, that's probably been the biggest thing we've spent a lot of time on recently, and a big learning for me.
Excellent, excellent. And yeah, again, talking about running businesses, you've talked a lot about the very many positives that come from running your own business. And going back to your first question of you wanted to move away from working with the tools company. And because you wanted to, I think you sort of said you wanted to travel a little bit more. So has running a business opened up those sort of doors for you, more opportunities then, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, running a business means that, you know, you're kind of always looking for new areas of growth. So there's always an opportunity somewhere. Trying to build out a network, trying to establish yourself in a particular industry as somebody that, you know, has knowledge and can give some support in a variety of different ways. And I think, you know, the travel side of things is great. But there's also the kind of unglamorous side, I think, sometimes, which is maybe not discussed and certainly not advertised much on LinkedIn when business owners are posting up about, you know, their exciting new thing they've just done. But, you know, sitting in train stations or airports for hours upon end is maybe the less glamorous part of it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, very often speak to business owners and they'll say, "Oh, I'm going to Brazil. Oh, fantastic, excellent. That's
Yeah,
amazing. I've never been there." It's like, yeah, I just see the airport, the hotel, and and back
yeah,
again. So yeah,
yeah.
absolutely, and that can be challenging. And also being a business owner is challenging. What sort of challenges have you sort of faced or maybe facing right now?
Yeah, really good question. So I think that as a business owner, and especially if, like me, you're kind of, you know, taking the business from founder startup, and growing it yourself, there are times where it can be quite lonely. So you have to take on obviously all of the responsibility. There's a kind of constant burden and pressure that's kind of sitting on you to make sure that people are looked after, clients are serviced well, your staff are happy, and you know, that they feel like that they're supported. Um, but there's not really anybody else, and certainly you know, in kind of my life, where they're in a similar situation. So a lot of my friends, for example, are working, they're in jobs, so they have bosses. Whereas when the buck stops with you, that kind of adds a whole new element to kind of what you carry with you in your personal life, as well as being in the office.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And kind of looking more at the opportunities then that come with challenges as well, So what opportunities are there within your industry specifically over the next 5 years, would you say?
Yeah, there's a really exciting opportunity at the moment actually within the e-commerce space. So everybody's very comfortable and very familiar with shopping online. You know, we've been doing it now for, you know, best part of kind of 15 years, right? So going onto Amazon, going onto Next or whatever website to go and buy as a consumer is really, you know, we've kind of nailed that. The next really interesting part is the B2B e-commerce experience. So this is where we're doing a lot of work at the moment. Is where we're, you know, spending a lot of our time, and kind of our development work is coming from this, which is businesses who, you know, by their nature are dealing directly with other businesses, buying and selling product to and from. But the structure in which that happens is slightly different to how we would do it as a consumer. Although the expectations now of staff and employees within these businesses is to replicate that similar experience. So, they no longer want to fax off an invoice and scan it on a PDF and attach it to an email and then have to phone the account rep, and like nobody wants to do that anymore. You've got a generation of people who are so used to just tapping a couple of buttons and that's the order placed for whatever product you want to buy from Amazon. They want that at work. I want to come in, and if I'm buying pipe, or if I'm buying well bits or whatever it might be, I want to be able to go onto a website, log into a trade portal, see my pricing, see what's available in stock or whatever, place an order or raise a quote, whatever the action is. But I want to be able to do that kind of in my time in an environment that I'm comfortable with. So we're working with some really, really great tech partners to bring this kind of experience to businesses, and we're seeing this just as a huge opportunity now for where there's still a lot of development to happen within our space.
Fantastic, fantastic. Listen, Matt, it's been fantastic having you on today. I really appreciate it,
Yeah, no
I've
worries.
got one last question though, and it's, if there's any advice that you could give to anyone, looking to go into business, or even, you started off so young, at
Yeah, yeah,
14, that's incredible, Is there any advice, again, to maybe even younger people out there, someone who's 14 years old, who's got an idea, but just they don't know how to do it. What
yeah,
advice would
yeah,
you give anyone going into business or wanting to go into business for
yeah.
themselves?
Yeah, no, that's good. I think for me the big one would be um the kind of realization that you've still got so much time when you're young. So you can make mistakes. You can kind of try stuff and get it wrong, and it falls over, and you spend a bit of money and you lose it all. Like, it's okay. Like, that is absolutely fine to do at that stage of your life. It's really easy, I think, nowadays to get sucked into this kind of social media, flashy fame and overnight success stories that we see. And for sure, some people, hit a good market at the right time and very quickly find success. But for the majority of businesses, it's really more about building that longevity, building something that's stable and really works. Um, and I certainly, when I was younger, thought that I had to do it all and have completed it all and be a multimillionaire by 25. And if I didn't do that, I was a failure. The reality is that you don't need to do that. You can build something that means something, and it has a lot more value to it. And so yeah, that would probably be my advice to a younger me, or a younger version of me that's out there that's thinking about starting businesses. Just try stuff, get started. It doesn't need to be perfect, not on day one anyway.
I think there's some great advice there, and what really stood out for me is that it's okay to make mistakes, yeah, and pick yourself back up, go for it again, keep trying. Absolutely, I absolutely love that, Matt. Thank you so much,
Yeah, no
and
problem.
thank you so much for joining us today on this interview. I really appreciate
No,
it. Thank
thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure. And thank you very much for watching. You've been watching Business Spotlight. I'm Mark Hunter of Action Coach. We'll see you next time. Thank you.